for iBoy, but that one will be banned away from IG.
This would be better.
He was
like
too slippery on it, man. There were so many times that he just survived. But we do get another one of his mainstays. We do get another one of the mainstays in the meta as well. That Tristana going to be the first lock-in for RA. A little bit of a run back here for IG, though. They get the Azir, but this time it'll be paired up with the Udyr.
See, I don't know if I like the trade as much for IG. Giving up that Tristana, I think, is far more impactful than the Xayah. It's easier to be able to punish Xayah in lane than it is Tristana. Well, yes, you can. Tristana in laning phase is always going to be able just innately pushing in. Low range until she's able to have a couple levels under her belt. But this is iBoy we're talking about. Someone who is going to play aggressive from moment one. Who constantly plays this Tristana even at level 1 as though there is already that lead and you already have that pressure.
And that rell also getting locked in for RA this time, not IG. So we'll see what Kong can do with that, especially with that engagement. We saw the tools over there on IG side last game around. They were pretty good at following up that CC, at setting up that CC, but now you have a lot of all-in potential for RA, and they could just be looking to up that ante, up that pace a little bit in game number 2. The Kalista, though, we finally are going to see it. We finally get to get it in this series. The Kalista coming through for IG.
Well, this is Puff's most played in the spring split
is.
as well. This is going back. This is harkening back to old years where Puff and Lucas, well, Puff mostly, has practiced so much on this Kalista. And I want to see what they're going to be able to utilize this Kalista for in the early game. In laning phase, Kalista is considered a great counter into Tristana and being able to bully. Later into the game, Tristana eventually is going to be able to outscale and outpace that Kalista if they're left completely alone. So it's a lot more of the onus onto this bottom lane of Puff and Lucas to be able to carve out a lead, but also being able to help out the team in earlier stages.
I completely agree, and some telling bans coming across for both squads here. In the second phase of bans, IG ban away some top laners. That Xayah not going to be showing up this time around. The Renekton also banned away. The Thresh support and the Nautilus ban come out for RA, and we're left with just a couple more pieces to put together for either of these squads. It's going to be the Rakan that gets to go with Puff and that bot lane on that Kalista.
I wanted Blitzcrank. That's so much more fun. I get, they have a rell and a Hecarim. Do you want to pull them into the back? I just want Blitzcrank. It's not such a bad thing to want.
You know, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Depends on the situation. I would have been interested in the pick. I still like the sustained fight, the sustained potential there for Lucas on that Rakan. That Corki, though, we get RA locking in that Corki 4th pick as well for themselves, and that's going to be setting up this double AD, this double carry composition that you love to see.
See, I'm wondering what they pick for Cube. I actually kind of like the Ornn pick. This composition for RA is a front to back. It's 11-5, people. We are moving ahead. The Jayce pickup blind isn't necessarily bad, but I like the opportunity to be able to scale up and not really have to worry about
the big brain, magical.
Baby!
The big brain,
TheShy
the biggest of brains. Oh my God, we just took a left turn at Albuquerque. I love it. I love to see it. I love it coming into game number 2. You know, you've got to win here for IG to keep this series going. You don't want to feel good about giving RA that 9th win, and they're going to give themselves some tools to do just that. It is going to be that Jayce Kalista matchup for Cube and TheShy, something we haven't seen today, so that's a little bit different, but we're going to have to see what tools come away sharper than the other side.
I'm not going to go and sit here and say that the Kalista matchup into Jayce is the best matchup. Like, not like when you see a Kalista into something like Gnar, where all you're going to do is play around, or any sort of melee champion. Jayce has opportunities to be able to have skill expression against Kalista, but it's TheShy. It's TheShy on Kalista, and that's what's so hype about this.
It's so hype. I cannot wait to see what happens in this top lane. See who gets the advantage. Because on the Aatrox last game, TheShy was putting up some numbers. I gotta say, he was very heavily in advantage in the CS in the laning phase. So now he has that Kalista, something that can snowball even further from that laning phase, something that can really transition that into late game power for themselves as well.
So I'm doing a quick little checkerino, see when TheShy last played this Kalista, and see how they're going to be able to do into RA with it.
Yeah, well, while you do that, we're going to be getting into this game, though. I mean, RA looking to secure themselves playoffs, looking to secure themselves their 9th win in a row. Can IG fight that narrative? Can they fight back? We get decided here on the Rift right now.
They're gonna try, they're gonna see if they can pull out all the stops, but let's get into it.
I hope you got a lot of those little signs for IG. Give them all the energy as we get to hear those Xayahs come out from both sides. It's a wonderful feeling.
Let's see. I'm still doing my maths. I'm still doing my
research. They're still doing the magical maths over here. All right, we're actually looking for a little bit of an invade. They wanted to punish TheShy right now. I love it, Magical. You might be doing those stats, but if TheShy had thought secondly and got into that tri-bush, he would be dead right now. So I like the attempts from RA to get advantage early on.
So if I'm right, it seems that the last time might have been June 25th of last year. And that was the last time I'm seeing it played. It was into Mordekaiser as well, which is really funny, since I miss Mordekaiser. I like seeing Mordekaiser.
That's the hard hitting. I miss Mordekaiser. That's it.
It's fun saying Mordekaiser.
You know what? Sometimes, I guess. Sometimes.
Sometimes? What do you mean? All the time.
I'd rather see TheShy on Kalista, all right? That's just me.
I'd rather see
That's just
TheShy
a little bias going
so
down.
There's just me.
I do really like to see some of this. The electrocute right now for Cube as well, trying to go for those aggressive trades against TheShy, who's definitely taking the priority up here in the lane, even early on here especially. And I wonder if we get a lot of the same from last game for IG, where they did have that priority in all 3 lanes early on, although bot lanes look a little bit harder to do so this time around.
This is how you play this lane as Kalista.
It
You
literally
need to make
is.
sure you force away anybody from the minions, especially Jayce. He wants to be able to get to the level 2 because that's when he can bully back. That's when there's going to be a bit better fight potential out of Jayce. So, of course, TheShy is saying you're not even allowed to get that. It's going to be not exactly similar to last time. Not unless, of course, we end up with a position where suddenly TheShy freezes the minion wave right outside of the turret again, and Cube's just on Jayce this time as opposed to being on a tank.
I do like to see the engage there on the bot lane. Not going to go all the way in, or able to connect it, at least on the side of Hwang, but are able to get that pressure advantage in the bot lane, especially, and the Tristana pushing, which is what we expected to be happening down here. Tristana has a lot of presence in that lane.
I'm continuing to see if they're going to be meeting up soon for these 2 junglers. Hey, doesn't this look a little bit familiar, except opposite champions for the 2 players?
Leyan is here to stop any potential dive.
Oh, I like
Shun is looking for it. Leyan
no
is
idea.
right there waiting. He knows it's here. He's not going to show just yet. Now Shun is going to get the devastating charge used onto him here, backwards into the tower. But Leyan is getting very low. Rookie goes for it. The damage is there, and that's going to be the first blood going over to IG.
Nice read by IG saying, all right, you got the jungler here? Well, we got TP because FoFo used that to get back into mid. Beautiful play. Ooh, a lot of damage to be able to cancel the recalls out
Don't
of
do it.
Cube.
Don't do it.
You're on a ward. Okay, Shy, thank you. I was about to say, get out of
don't do it.
He's still on it. Oh, come on. Get him. Get him, Cube.
Oh, no.
Get him.
Okay. He smells something out. He sees that
How
Cube
many?
is
That's
business.
2 canceled recalls,
Maybe
third
there's
one's a
something.
charm?
Yeah, that's twice now. But, you know, he still does have that TP available.
Okay, going back to the play and why that's so amazing. Sure, it is the Udyr getting the kill, but the fact that they're able to make that dive work out and kill Leyan, that's the big thing. What happened last time when it was the opposite role, where it was Leyan playing Udyr into Hecarim? Got the early kill, has all the momentum on the jungle pathing and on the tempo. That's going to be the opposite for RA now. They are no longer the ones with the tempo. It is now Shun who's going to be able to run rampant around Leyan.
So far, so good from the camp of IG right now, trying to get those leads ahead, trying to not let what happened last time, not let that snowball develop for RA. It's working out really well for them so far. But they've got to keep on trucking, keep on going, trying to get Shun on this Udyr more active, get him into these lanes. You have seen a decent amount of pressure still up there for TheShy in the top lane, but that means that Shun is going to have free range of that top side of the map.
You know what I like that I kind of just realized? So TheShy playing Kalista. Well, who does he tether to?
It's
I'm gonna help you work. Right, and who's Shun playing?
I think it's Udyr, Magical. I think it's Udyr.
You think it's Udyr, good. I think so too. And what does Udyr like to do?
Run, stun, job, done. But now he gets an extra
flash
tool.
Bear slap. That's another one. So you can immediately get your own flash with that. And now look for another dive on a cube.
Lucas is up here, Rookie's up here, Cube is worse for wear right now. Leyan is going to survive, is going to help. They actually get the execution onto TheShy, so that's not going to give any gold over. And Leyan has found himself on a bad side of town here. FoFo on the backside here. Rookie gets couple. Wait, he dies to the ignite. I love it from Wog. And they follow it up for FoFo. One more shot will do it. He flashes, he doesn't get it. The stun from Shun is too much. And they try to respond. They only get that one back, but IG coming out on top in the early game.
IG, this is great to see after the last game where they weren't able to make those plays. Remember, I talked about they kept having these plays where they tried to see if they could pull off the heist. They wanted to be able to look all cool while doing it, but they never had the escape plan. This time, it seems like the escape plan is to kill everyone who's there and make sure nobody can make the arrest, because that's how they played. Even here, TheShy dies to an execute. That is incredible just for the fact that no gold is picked up by RA. They don't have to worry about these members getting a lot. And here, with the Rookie getting Ignite killed by Hong, who else is getting kill credit? Nobody. FoFo tries desperately and
right here, though.
MVP just for this play right there.
Oh, man. That feels so bad. You're so close to that last shot, and Shun is like, no way, Jose. You're not getting my support.
Nope. Not today. He was able to get away with the money in the bag, and they are now off to the races here with a nice near 2,000 gold lead over that of RA. About more equivalent to 1,500, and that is only 7.5 minutes into this game. A lot of that's put into Shun, the member that constantly tries to see how they're going to be able to rotate around and get these other lanes ahead, get the side lanes, be the pressure. Nice body block by Rookie to be able to stay alive mid lane, but it's still, I'm going back to Shun. I'm going back to this Udyr and how the IG tend to play. Well, you got the player that you normally play around in the early games ahead, so now you have a far better option to be able to maintain Leyan.
And one of the biggest things that we said for IG and for Shun in general is trying to get those lanes ahead. I want to see him transition that lead for himself into some leads for his solo laners, especially. And you're looking at a Kalista and an Azir, you know, two good members to get some gold on, especially there in that fashion. So I want to see what he can do, as he did go for a bit of an invade there, does get spotted out, sniffed out if you will. And Leyan and Cube are able to make short work of that one, but no real objective control to be had from either side so far. It's been a lot of fighting, a lot of tussling, but nobody has committed until just now, where RA decide they want that Rift Herald.
The IG are going to have to give it up. Oh, but if they can catch FoFo.
They can get the package out of FoFo at least, so that's going to be big, and they won't have that tool available to them. They actually push them off of the Rift Herald, but they get a little bit of that confidence back. They want to keep fighting over it, but the members of IG are collapsing, and this is just going to be a Rift Herald given over to IG after RA were the ones that started it up. They want to keep fighting over it, though. Leyan is right here, not there in time. A little bit of a split decision from RA. Can IG capitalize further? No, it will just be that Rift Herald secured.
They were trying to see if they can have the smite fight. That's what it was. Leyan wanted to smite it away, so that way at least they deny Rift Herald from IG. But this play, so much was wasted topside by RA that not only are they going to lose out on Rift Herald, but they have no way to be able to rotate in time to contest the other objectives. That is 2 objectives taken immediately by IG. This is looking like it's the opposite teams playing. This is what RA did to IG in game 1, having done now to them here in game 2.
It's not where you exactly want to be. Hey, we got our first dragon taken. It's going to be Shun that picks it up. At least we get IG their first dragon of the game. A little bit of cooldown reduction, a little bit of speed for that Udyr, as that's what you're looking for. But that means that we need to see the response from RA here. They do have Leyan on the backside of Rookie here. FoFo wanted it, but luckily Rookie's just got those shifting sands, and he'll sand right out of there.
That's why oftentimes people talk about this match being kind of boring, but nice rotate by TheShy.
I thought he might still be dead there if they follow it
Same.
up, but that Onslaught of Shadows is going to get him to safety.
I thought for sure that TheShy was going to try to continue to follow that up. I think he thought he had more damage from Ren, but Q?
Oh no. Q getting a bit. Oh yeah, that trade back. I was going to say, the damage is coming for TheShy on the Kalista. You just got to wait for it a moment. And yeah, definitely going to get a nice little trade there. But some shock blasts, some definite damage coming back across, being rang across to TheShy's face as Cube is able to respond heavily.
I love this build from TheShy as well, going for the serrated Dirk. This is something you see very often with Kalistas lately. And this is a build that I've been playing, but I mean, granted, on ARAM for a long time, where I like to go lethality Kalista. Well, I mean, I gotta tell people I'm not that good at League of Legends. I like to play and I like to talk about League of Legends. I'm good at that part, but mechanically, not so good. But either way, it's something that I feel like a lot of people underestimate the amount of damage that you can get from a Kalista, especially from your Q then Ran combination in tandem. You're able to rip people apart, and when you look at RA's composition, especially in the lane where TheShy wants to be into Cube, that's not going to be someone who's going to be able to survive that lethality. Having to rush the plated seal cap on Jayce feels atrocious. You want to be the one doing the damage. You want to be the one who's constantly harassing, but it's the opposite in this matchup.
That is indeed. Shun is going to use that Rift Herald in bot lane. IG trying to get some gold under Puff's belt here. A couple charges off, possibly get that tower. They could engage right afterwards. I thought maybe that bear slap was going to go through, but the rocket jump too clean there. TheShy gets caught. That's the Onslaught of Shadows used a lot on TheShy. Can they have the damage to follow it up, though? Yes, they can. Leyan is going to get the kill. But bot side, iBoy's caught. He gets out with a beautiful flash, though. IG get a next charge off of that Rift Herald onto the second tier tower. So yes, RA do respond with a kill of their own, but a lot of map advantage gained by IG.
Getting a lot of tempo to be able to work with. The fact they didn't kill iBoy is not that big of a deal. Like you mentioned, being able to get that second charge. Look at how low that tier 2 is. They can keep putting this pressure back because iBoy is too low to want to step up nearby to Puff, to Lucas. So they have to just concede it, which means soon enough, IG are going to swap lanes. Once they get that dragon up in 2 minutes, it's going to be a lot easier for them to take the dragon, go topside. They're already even trying to see if they can set up vision control by sending, if you look, Lucas towards that top side of the map.
Exactly that. And honestly, you know, IG have had a lot of the chaos, a lot of that go in their favor early on in this game right now. But RA are slowly but surely still racking up some gold, still finding some advantages for themselves and responses. And that's what I like to see at this moment in the game. Yes, you aren't necessarily in the pace advantage. You're not the pace car of the game right now, but you're still keeping up. You're able to stay in those fights. You're able to stay at least relevant in this. But Cube needs to get out there if he wants to stay relevant. He decides not to. I know. He was so close to making the right decision, but he's going to find a bear. He's also going to find a Rakan. He's also going to find some spears to the mouth as TheShy is going to get yet another one, at least at the top lane. His first kill, but it is Cube that is hurting up there.
First kill, sure, but the pressure's always been there for TheShy. Constantly harassing, where now this Kalista, it is all about the early game. Being able to get these leads carved out into a Jayce of all things as well is horrible to feel for Cube in this lane, where it seemed like they finally had a matchup that would be a lot easier for him, right? You get Jayce, you're like, this is great. He's going to be pulling topside, he's going to bully TheShy, and they pull a fast one. They pull the rug out from under them and swap up that Kalista top lane. And this lane has been miserable to play from the moment it started.
Look at that turret play differential there. They almost have 1,000 gold just in that fashion. It's about 3K plus right now for IG at less than 15 minutes in. This is the control that we like to see from this team. This is where they feel like they're most strong and they can make those decisions. Those team fights are immaculate from them. And now that they've got themselves set up, we should be seeing more of that from them.
And I was wondering the build path for TheShy goes for the one I expected. Trying to go for that Sanguine Blade, then into Immortal Shield Bow so that you never can be killed by Q.
Yeah,
but you'll
especially in
always
those 1v1s.
be able to 1v1.
Dragon was started up there by IG. They pull out, and it will just be RA who swoop in to do what they could not and kill that dragon. Yes, I do think it was a very smart call from IG, but it will be RA that get to even up those dragons. If not, at least IG are able to get that second tower.
This game, though, just feels like a mirror image of the previous one.
Man.
FoFo TV top.
Yeah, TheShy just gets TP'd
Ouch.
on and obliterated there. FoFo makes the call, makes the TP, and gets the kill.
Remember, Sanguine Blade is great into a 1v1, not a 2v1.
How many people were there? I think it was 2. So,
Now, here's a question. Do you count the cannon that Jayce owns? Because I think it's like partly alive. Or do you count the little rocket ship that Corki's on? Because if it's the dog skin, it would be a dog there too.
I would say we don't count them separately. But,
what if it's the Corki? There's a dog there.
Maybe we'll do a third person there. It's a 3-man gank if it was the Corki, but it wasn't. So we only got the 2-man. But still, TheShy goes down, and that is a big point for RA to find a win.
It's a manatee. That's definitely got to count as someone.
But it didn't matter though. TheShy still died. So you can throw as many people as you want and as many bodies as you want magical. But if they focus you on topside as this Kalista, you are gonna go down. And we do get the Rift Herald start up and secure by IG here. So at least they'll have to get another objective for themselves, and they'll have a second Rift Herald to use how they see fit.
Probably going to try to see if they can punish me.
Oh, no.
Nice call. I like that. And saying, all right,
he even tried to buster shot him away from his control ward. He's like, guys, stop it. I just put it down.
And there it is. Mid lane pop. Going to be able to easily crack open that tier 1. That's the play I want to see them make. So that way they control more of Leyan's jungle. Again, I'm going to keep saying this. It's a mirror of last game. IG are the ones utilizing this Udyr the same way that RA had utilized it in the previous game. They're not going to be able to get that third charge. I was almost wondering, like, oh my goodness, will they? But they don't. Either way, it doesn't matter. They have this tempo lead. They can easily peel back off, get control. They don't need to worry about anything. Oh, wait. Uh-oh.
I think you've been spotted out. Although they don't have the confidence in the rest of the vision around there. So Hog is going to be able to get out. And I have to say, we're just sub 18 minutes in. There's already 4 towers taken right now for IG. They have gotten so much pressure around this map that we can see it transition into these fights, into these moments where they are able to control these objectives. They are able to move around the map how they want to.
And speaking of which, for RA, they are still in a position where, despite the fact that they have very little room to work with, they at least have gotten some vision back thanks to Hung, but they also have the fallback composition. They can always fall back to the fact that with Corki, with Tristana, Hecarim, rell, to be able to absorb a lot of pressure, they can still scale up in the game if they can delay this long enough. That's got to be their opportunity to strike if they want to, but unfortunately, IG are not really going to relent. You have this Kalista matchup for that reason. Azir also does really well into the late game. Same with Xayah.
Yeah.
It's going to be really difficult when you continue to lose out on a lot of these trades, especially when you don't have a Jayce that's going to be able to have that impact in the side lane.
And for me also on the side of RA is like they have a lot of that we engage, we catch you out, you're dead, we can move on in that fight. But right now that hasn't been to their strong point. They haven't been able to pull those executions off here and there, yes, but still it's IG looking for those fights, looking for those big moments, and that's not necessarily how you want to approach these for RA.
No, but right now RA are just trying to control their own jungle. And June says, nope, no blue buff for FoFo. That is mine. Thank you very much.
They're all there, and he still gets it.
Man, it's rough. It's really rough right now for RA. They don't have control of their own jungle. They don't really have a way to be able to pressure back unless they can somehow make a pick happen. But really, IG aren't going to set themselves up to be in that position. It is very, very much the same that we saw Rare Adam do last time. Unfortunately, it's the shoe on the other foot.
It is indeed. Wonder what kind of shoes those are, because maybe I gotta get myself a pair of them. They look pretty good when they're on the right foot.
But that's the problem. People would be wanting to steal them constantly and putting them on their own feet. So do you really want shoes that people are fighting you over?
I mean, I think that's a big thing in like the sneaker department. Like, I think there's a lot of people that go after those kinds of shoes. Although, you know, speaking of shoes, I would really hope that iBoy gets out of here. He's gonna stop his back, you know. If we'll, yeah, he's still pretty safe. That's a lot committed though by Lucas. He's gonna pop everything there. The Buster Shot comes in. The Emperor's Divide. They call the TP down as well. But iBoy's still alive. Can they turn this around? This is an exquisite potential for RA. They're split though, and Puff goes down.
How does iBoy keep doing this every time?
FoFo with the red buff. He got the package. He's going. Shun is down 2. That's a triple kill for FoFo. And they start up the Baron here. IG are on the back foot.
How in the world did they manage that? IG fall for the bait of getting themselves caught out. Now it's on to TheShy and Rookie. 2v5 trying to defend the Baron.
Oh, the onslaught of shadows, but he misses. Leyan goes down. TheShy goes down. Now it's just Rookie. Rookie gets flashed off. FoFo again. FoFo with the decision making is crucial for RA, and RA get the Baron.
This is insanity here at Mazel. How in the world did RA get this to work out so well? All thanks to iBoy. I was wondering, is he dead? When is he gonna get jumped on? Puff, Lucas are so dead set on killing him. They use so much the quickness burn just to be able to get the Buster Shot. On the other side, using Emperor's Divide, but a great flash over the wall, utilizing the brush to defend himself. That allows the rest of RA to be able to show up in the fight, and because it's split, you don't have to worry about the damage from TheShy.
Puff explodes from those rockets coming out from FoFo, and a lot the same for the rest of it. And also what I want to point out in that fight is that Shun and the rest of IG were completely split off from each other. They were running away, and they were just completely taken apart by RA, and that is some insane team fight decision making that typically we would shine IG spotlight on, but RA are the ones pulling that out here and making it known that they are a force to be reckoned with.
I mean, there's a reason why they have an 8-series win streak right now, Mazel. There's a reason why I keep singing their praises. This team is so interesting in how consistent they can play, even when behind, even when it looks like everything is out. iBoy is having one of the best splits I've seen of him ever. This is insane how well he's been able to perform. We talk about these high highs for him. And normally, people mention whenever they talk about the low lows getting picked off out of position. Well, iBoy, it seems like they just can't stop him to ever even experience the low lows.
And look at that game graph right now. It was a slow but steady advantage being developed, being won by IG. They were at a 3K plus lead. Yeah. And then now, RA taking the lead, taking the advantage, having the Baron buff. They have everything they could ask for, except a little bit of scaling they need to wait for.
And honestly, it's not even going to be great for IG if they want to scale, because Rare Atom do the same. They also can scale, though they have to be careful. They don't want to overextend themselves and get caught out.
Oh, but Shun flashes. There's the grand entrance as well. Han goes golden. A lot of damage on the Lucas. Lucas gets back out. Look at that Emperor's Divide from Rookie, though. They get a ton of damage, but can they follow it up? RA are still alive. Rookie's Emperor's Divide did not do what it needed to do, and RA's key members are still trucking.
It might have been a beautiful Emperor's Divide, but what does it matter if your team all dies during it? You have nothing to be able to back it up. RA are able to kite back and still fight back. Sure, they lose FoFo, and it's a shutdown amount of gold picked up by IG. But it really doesn't matter, because it's still Rare Atom with the Baron to be able to take down that tier 2. It's still Rare Atom with the position to be able to now take control of Shun's jungle. So it's them that are now forcing IG back into their base.
And look at that power play. Look at that gold play that RA are able to do as we do dive back into this fight. see how it worked out, because RA gets started on a bit of a back foot. They could turn it around so nicely in the midst of the fight.
But the problem is that IG used so much to try to get into the backline, not in tandem. While Rookie gets this huge effort to fight, what did he do? He knocked them onto the rest of his team and onto Pup, your carry, the AD carry you need. And TheShy was never there. You have this 4v5 fight essentially that you aren't really able to really capitalize on because Puff gets blown up pretty quickly. Shun has already used Flash to try to engage that. Lucas no longer had the quickness. Everything was already gone. The tank was empty, so the car, it broke down on the side of the road.
A little bit of trouble in the gas tank there, especially for IG, but it was so close to being so positive. Puff having to pop that Feather Storm immediately as they were all on top of him meant that they didn't get the damage down when they were looking through that Rookie Emperor's Divide. And they found Rookie here. A lot of damage being used onto him, a lot of tools being used on him. He doesn't fall, but they still are pushing up this bot lane. They still have a huge siege potential as that satchel charge does quick work of the tower.
No reason to even fight over defending that tier 2. It's one of those indefensible turrets that you give up without a fight, because if you fight too hard, it's so easy for them to be able to disengage, re-engage for that kind of fight. It's a smart call by IG once Rookie got poked so low, but the biggest problem is around this dragon. They want to be able to get themselves within soul point. That is now their fallback plan. You talked about scaling that IG has. They will be able to rely on that, but they also would love to be able to have an Ocean Dragon on top of that, Ocean Dragon Soul, mind you, on top of that, to be able to keep RA at bay.
That's what they're trying to do here, but RA do not want to be kept at bay. They want to keep advancing like the storm front that they are. It is just incredible to see this game play out in the way it has, and now with this 4,000 gold lead in favor of RA. They've set themselves up really nicely going over that 27-minute mark here as their second dragon will be secured with no response from IG.
Unfortunately for IG, they just don't have the ability to fight back around that dragon just yet. They lost control around both quadrants of the map, so instead of trying to fight over a dragon that only would get them within soul point, they opt instead to wrestle control around the impending Baron. They want to make sure they can fight back reliably around that, as opposed to throwing all their bodies and souls at a potential soul that they wouldn't even guarantee themselves getting.
And I have to just shine a light on this mid laner for RA, FoFo, man. 6-1 on this Corki. Being able to pull out this pick, he hasn't played too often in the split, but still having such a strong performance in the fact that he's able to respond to where Rookie is, able to respond to the aggressions that IG have had, and still come out with such a huge advantage, at least in terms of items. This guy is a mainstay in these fights, and you've got to be careful where those rockets are raining.
Well, that is the great thing about Corki late game. Everyone always complains about Corki Azir in laning phase, but when it gets to later parts of the game, that's when their true spirit and their true identity is revealed and how much damage they're able to output in these fights.
We're getting a little bit of a potential skirmish here behind the Baron pit. I would like to point out that the ADC item differentials and the paths that they've taken, it's so funny because we saw Puff Up early, Puff Up getting some items, but now iBoy's coming in clutch on this Tristana, and I want to see how these rest of these fights. They pull the trigger on it. That's going to be Juan going in the back, as well as the Onslaught Shadows. The re-engage there from Lucas, but the damage isn't there. Shun is there on the back, though. That's TheShy already falling. iBoy is doing damage. Cube on the back. IG are running yet again. This is happening over and over, Magical. This could just be it. RA want to go for the throat.
They've got it in the bag, only having lost FoFo, with iBoy somehow jumping into the entire fight and living through it all. That is them ending the game. No way that they don't end it. They know they've got the 2-0 over IG. I can't believe it.
That 9-0 win streak feels real good right now. That meteoric rise is going to continue into the stratosphere as IG fall prey to Rare Adam.
This is incredible to see how Rare Adam has been able to jump in to 2021. It was a rough start, but ever since the beginning of the split, they have found their identity. They have found how they want to play. And I mentioned it before, no other team has been better at picking apart their opponents, playing their opponent's styles to be flexible and throw it back in their face consistently.
Yeah, and I just have to say, they honestly deserve to take another bow right there. It is absolutely monumental what this win means for confidence, for your standings, for that securation of playoffs, just for the team in general, keeping that confidence going, keeping that gameplay going. They absolutely dominated what would be, what can be, what has been one of the best teams in the LPL.
Insane. I am so here for it. I am definitely becoming a big fan. I know. You're on a 9-game series win streak. Yeah. You're going to be very happy, especially with that kind of performance. That second game seemed over. It seemed like it was a mirror image of the previous game they had just played, the previous win they had just gotten, but it was IG doing it to them. But they had a perfect fight. They caught IG overextended, and again, the bandits got arrested by the cops that are RA. They caught them and were able to lock them down and pick up that 2-0.
I want to say, I'm just going to make a call back to the joke you had, but you know, they're getting arrested, but meanwhile, their shoes are also on the foot of Leyan there. I mean, he absolutely took the shoes from that series. It was just incredible across the board. And that's what I love about this from RA. It wasn't one member. It was the entire team in both games. Yes, they fell behind early against IG, one of these teams that you would think they can close it out if they have those leads. They have shown that possibility. RA pull it back in certain team fights in certain ways, and especially knowing where to take advantages when it was coming to them, knowing when to capitalize on some of the overextensions for IG was so pivotal in how they were able to turn that around.
It's been insane to see how they've been able to play. And really, it's all their members. Cube in a horrible matchup, this Jayce and Kalista, where he wants to be able to get level 2, but TheShy played it well in lane phase. He was able to bully him. They were constantly trying to dive this Jayce, so the Jayce was never going to be a factor. But the thing is, he still bounced back, still able to find his foothold onto this game to be useful for the team. So it wasn't just a Jayce late game where he's been put behind, hasn't been able to get any gold to be able to actually impact any fights. He was able to wait it out, kept the mental fortitude to finally fight.
And the fight did come. The fight did happen, and RA were able to take that. And that's where you look to TheShy, who was on this Kalista, who had a very dominant early game in this one, was not able to make it matter or make it count when it mattered. And the same for Rookie, having amazing ultimates, having amazing positioning in the starts of fights, but not able to follow it up with the rest of the team, not being exactly on the same page, where RA were able to capitalize the most. And you look at that gold graph magical, and I need to do a double take there. I mean, that is a huge differential after that 20-minute mark for it to just swing completely in RA's favor.
I will say also the damage graphs does not really indicate what I find to be one of the highlight players in iBoy, because he was able to escape so often from those fights where it looked like that was going to be it. You kill this Tristana, Baron immediately for IG, but they couldn't do it. iBoy was able to absorb that pressure yet again, like he did in game 1. Here in game 2, once more able to constantly just teeter on the edge of dying and the edge of actually cleaning up the fights, and always made it so that the scales tipped in his favor.
Scales were definitely tipping. That was a bit more of an ecstatic game number 1 from him, but game number 2 a little bit less pop-up, but still, as you said, all those tools by IG trying to get this carry, trying to get iBoy out of the fights. He is able to get out, able to stop all that aggression, and it just gets turned, as you had said earlier, right back in IG's face in so many fashions, where it wasn't just those skirmishes in the jungle, it was the objective fights. It was where you saw IG being confident and trying to start those objectives or trying to engage on the start from RA, but you know, time and time again, the RA health bars were just not going down. You saw a lot of explosions, a lot of damage being thrown their way, but they were able to come out on top in those fights, and that's what's so big to me. So
Lennon, with this victory, RA have now secured themselves a playoff spot. They hit the magic number of 10, so they are guaranteed going into the playoffs. What seed they're going to get is definitely another story, but right now sitting 10-3. They're only half a game back behind EDG, since EDG is sitting at 2-10, and they're about half a game up of FPX. This is crazy to see from Rare Adam, but it's also so exciting.
Yeah, it's just been a movie in the making at this point throughout this series, or throughout this split for RA especially, and just sinking of the lows, the highs, the absolute ceiling breaking highs that we've seen from Rare Adam, and I need to see that continue. I've really liked what we've seen from them. They've secured themselves as one of the top teams in the LPL by securing that playoff berth, but you know, you got to keep that train rolling. You could go even higher. You could be fighting for the top tier in the world for those win streaks if you want to keep it rolling. And you got to look into the schedule. You got to look into what's coming for RA to make sure they can keep on top.
I mean, honestly, right now, they seem like they're going to keep going with that. They got LGD next up. Let's see, after that, just making sure we got EDG. Though, I will say, they end the split really rough. With LGD next,
they do.
Afterwards, RNG and EDG. That is in week 10. They have probably one of the most difficult final weeks of any teams out there, facing off against the number 1 and the team that's right above you at number 2. But hey, you know what? That'd be a great way to enter playoffs if you could somehow manage victories off those two.
Way to keep that train rolling, those win streaks, man. Could you imagine to finish off the week against, or finish off the season against EDG, RNG, taking those wins, keeping that win streak up, and just cementing, as we were trying to say earlier, just cementing themselves as one of these top teams this split. It has been an crazy rise. As you said, it's just a form of a shooting star at this point, and how long is it going to keep burning?
Well, and then on the other side, we got to talk about Invictus Gaming a bit. Losing this game 2-0, especially in that second game where they were the ones to have that lead and unfortunately didn't carry it to fruition. They weren't able to finish it off and be able to beat out RA in that game to force a game 3. And now they are in a spot where there is a possibility that they don't make playoffs. They are now tied with BLG at 6-7. Sure, they do win in the differential at +1 still, while BLG is -1. That's not really a good sign for them if you want to guarantee that you're getting into playoffs. Plus, they're probably going to be entering at a pretty low seed. That means they're going to have to go through the full gauntlet run if they even want to be able to get to the finals.
Yeah, exactly that. And we do have our MVP of the series, and it will be FoFo coming in clutch, especially that second game. Corki. Oh man, that Corki game, that MVP was insane. It's so fitting, at least, to go to this Corki and to FoFo in general, because just the KP, man, he was all over. It was seemingly nothing, and then all of a sudden he's got everything.
And while I highlight iBoy on how he's able to kite back, it is FoFo who is constantly in the front line, constantly putting this pressure back on to IG. And there's a reason why so many people have been singing his praises this split. This has been one of the best splits out of FoFo, who is an insanely talented player, who has had insanely talented splits outside of just this one.
And you just see it in the fights. He's not the focus. Yes, he has a lot of damage. Yes, he should be one of those focuses, but nobody is able to really capitalize on putting the damage here. This was the closest attempt. This is where I thought the damage from IG was going to be able to turn it around, but as you see, it's just too much to handle and not enough follow-up from that initial engagement from Rookie.
No, because nobody can really do that much damage to all the members on RA. Where sure, you get the kill on a FoFo, but at what cost? You lose everybody else.